So the next step, slide the new strut up in there, or the coilovers. These are a little bit smaller than the, I should say quite a bit smaller than the stock, so they fit up there pretty simply. You don't need to really bend that out of the way too much. And then just reinstall the 4 stock bolts into the new plate. There's a right and left side of this assembly. They have them marked, driver and passenger side. I get all 4 bolts in there, and then I kind of tighten them up. Then just use a ratchet. Kind of put them all up at the same time. Don't torque them down at all yet. Get them all to kind of seat in there. That one that you had to take off with the ratchet wrench, again, you'll have to do that, the same thing, putting it back on. Pretty much tighten these 4 bolts down, and then we'll go to the bottom. Okay, so we got the 4 bolts up here all tightened up on the top, and now the next step is put the 2 bushings in at the end. That'll go in between the control arm, and then the next step is putting the bolt back into the A-arm to the spindle. Again, this is really tight right here, so it's a little tricky. Gets it. Okay, I leave that loose, and then the next bolt is the bolt that goes in between the strut. So you kind of need 2 hands here. Okay, and then tighten those 2. And then the last step is putting the sway bar tie rods back in. I'll do that next. Okay, so the last step, putting the sway bar linkage back in. As I just found out, if you put both sides in and you tighten up the other side, you can't lift the bar up on this end. So leave it loose on the other side, but have it together, and then you can kind of get this up and out of the way. If you tighten down that other side, you can't do that. So I had to come back and loosen that up a second ago. And then now that I got both sides on, I can crank them both down. So that pretty much completes the install once I tighten these nuts up. The only other thing I did that really doesn't say anything in the directions is the retainer ring that holds the spring in. I screwed that down so it's snug farther down the shock. So the spring is snug now instead of loose. I left it loose until I got everything in and then just snugged that down. From here, I'm going to guess that we're going to adjust the ride height by adjusting this in or out. That'll be the next step once I get everything tightened down.